We're seeing inflation rates go up 9% year over year, 8%, 6%. It's too much for too many Americans. It affects not only how much you spend at the grocery store, but it can also affect long-term decisions like retirement savings. So the big question, of course, is how do I save in order to avoid the worst effects of inflation? It's going to very much depend on your age and situation. So if you're a younger worker who has decades ahead of them, I think sticking to the game plan is probably your best plan of action. And that means simply building a retirement account, building that emergency savings, probably putting as much as 15% or more of your income towards retirement and keeping the pedal to the metal. This is the time where you're actually maybe capturing some gains and doing yourself some good about making sure to continually and consistently keep saving for retirement. You've got a long recovery period, and the losses today may be gains tomorrow. If you're an older worker right now and you're closer to retirement age, this may mean being a little bit more conservative. Maybe you do need to shift around some of those retirement funds. Maybe you do need to take a closer look at your investments. Certainly talking with a financial professional would not be the worst idea. Of course, you may also need to start looking at how your retirement plan is shaping up. At this point, many of folks have probably already started to think about their withdrawal rates, think about their spending, think about all of these things that you have to on the back end of retirement. Look very closely at those and make sure that they're still in line with not only your goals, but also what the market performance and the economic environment is doing at that time period. When it comes to contributing and withdrawing from your retirement savings, it's a lot of generalization, unfortunately. So usually the rule of thumb for contributions is most experts recommend about 15% of your annual income going towards your retirement account. Now that of course depends very much on your age, it depends on your situation. A lot of Americans tend to save a little bit less early on and then of course play catch up a little bit as they get closer to retirement and certainly during their peak earning years. When it comes to a withdrawal rate, usually about 4% is recommended, but of course this will depend again on your situation. If you're retiring in maybe a couple of months or a couple of years, the current environment, especially the inflation rate and of course the down markets, can be really concerning. When it comes to your sort of panic level these days, it does help to keep in mind that even though many of us are seeing a lot of losses coming out of our retirement savings accounts, they are just paper losses for the most part at the moment. And by paper losses, what I mean is that if you have $100,000 and the market's down 10%, that's real money for sure, but it's not realized until you actually cash it out. So right now the balance is down for sure, but it's not necessarily coming out of your pocket at this very moment. And if you stay in the market, chances are that will recover. So it's about time in market, not necessarily timing the market, as most of us have heard in the past. There are actually a number of studies that do show that even during down markets, even during periods of high inflation, people do have the funds and the wherewithal to last 30 years within retirement. For example, T. Rowe Price actually looked at several different years, 1973, 2000, and 2008, which were all, of course, very difficult time periods for people to retire into for sure. And what they found, certainly the earliest with 1973, is that even on a 30-year time horizon, those folks not only recovered from their losses, but actually prospered when it came to their financial futures. Keep in mind too that, again, if you are younger, you've got a fairly long time horizon to recover those funds and to outlast inflation. For folks that are a little bit closer to retirement, you still have time, making sure to only use a very limited withdrawal rate and maybe move around how much money you're taking out of the market, giving those funds the maximum amount of time to recover while you get better market performance. For most Americans, there is light and hope at the end of this tunnel when it comes to inflation and the down markets. This is cyclical, and much of the angst and the worry that we're seeing will abate at some point. The Federal Reserve is working very hard to make sure that we do see a decrease in inflation. Hopefully that comes to pass without any terrible downturns, but certainly There are downturns expected and built into many of the retirement plans and forecasts that we'd use on a day-to-day basis. So you will probably end up in an okay place financially as long as you stick to those goals and the plans that you put in place. And if you're worried, please do talk to a financial professional. They do know what they're talking about and will be able to perhaps give you a little bit of peace of mind during this turbulent time. Check out our next video where we're diving into different types of retirement accounts and how they might work best for you.